So we were talking earlier about Africa and moving back and forth throughout Africa and taking the music and the message in the music home, or taking it back, because that's the source of all that we bring, especially those of us who are conscious of the essence of what we're working with. Can you speak briefly to your experiences with the hip hop movement in Africa relative to the diaspora, and then also the people's what's the word I'm looking for? Gravitation towards the idea of a common African identity. Talk about the song "I'm an African," whereas there's this kind of micro-nationalist attitude that's constantly pounced upon our people throughout the world, but even at home, even more, as far as saying I'm Nigerian or I'm Ghanaian as opposed to I'm African. Right. When you speak to, like when you do that song at home, or you've done that song at home, how do the youth especially take it, and how do you see in general the hip-hop movement at home?
Well, I'm an African. The song for conscious youth is like a battle cry. I've seen it build all kind of great positive energy in white and black people who repeat the lyrics "I'm an African" as if they wrote them themselves. Now that's of like a kind of rooted, kind of conscious sector of our community in general, inside and outside the U.S. In Africa, I think it's clear where colonization has done its dirty work inside the borders of Africa itself and around the world, really like detaching this one identity, which we're trying to work, I think, back toward. We talked about going to Africa, which for me would tie in some of the really practical things that I have to take out of a theoretical process and put into a really practical one. After being all over the continent multiple times for certain periods of time, I think it's time, like I feel the need to tie into it in like a long-term kind of relationship that can build our ability to build economic development in Africa, as well as this cultural identity. And for me, the music and my experience with music in Africa has been a wondrous one throughout West Africa, Nairobi, and Tanzania, Mozambique, to East Africa, and West Africa, in Ghana, and Guinea, Conakry, Bissau, and through Senegal, Gambia, Senegambia, and the rest, and to the southern region. I've been able to work with artists who do see this Africa in one identity. Artists like Didi Awadi from Positive Black Soul, or you have, my brother Kamal from Ukuflani Mau Mau, even like would be like R&B artists like Nakaya, or Lufu from Dar es Salaam. You name it. There's Baloji, from Ghana, the whole Ghana mob, Reggie Rockstone, and the rest. It's like, I think is the idea that we can build a common African identity throughout the diaspora, which is strengthened by the fact that our cultural experience has been broadened. Not only do I have the cultural experience in America, but to combine it with the continent-wide experience from Awadi or a Reggie Rockstone together gives it a perspective and point of view that has not been seen. And the artists see the importance of that. And that is what I'm looking to cultivate, develop, and build so that we can tour Africa and excavate the resource of the culture as a whole, and to develop really and implement an idea that can fight back like this worldwide, pop music idea that is really American culture. Hip hop right now exists for all intents and purposes on most lands as American pop culture, and carries the hidden messages of capitalism and imperialism deeply embedded. What we're trying to do is strip ourselves of it, because obviously I'm of the materialism and sexism and the negative factors and connotations that come with American music. I try to shirk that off and let it roll off as much as I can, but being able to connect on those levels helps us to do it as a whole. Right. And that's what I look forward to the most in the identity of African hip-hop, or really music, because at the end of the day, it's not just hip-hop, it's African culture. That's all hip-hop is.
Kind of like taking it modern day where Roy Ayers and Fela.
Definitely.
And that connect that they made back in the day.
That's exactly where we want to be.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got a chance maybe a year and a half ago to check out an interview you did with Davey D shortly after you came back from Palestine. And I was real inspired by that interview. And I know in the case of the All African People's Revolutionary Party, we've actually been criticized and attacked from certain forces within the nationalist community for our support of the Palestinian people. And obviously in America you have the dynamic, especially in America, the dynamic of Arab people being the corner store owners and gas station administrators, and without that global consciousness of understanding and putting those things into perspective, sometimes in our community there's this anti-Arab sentiment, especially with the fervor of the imperialist media and educational system here. So I guess if you had to speak to those people who come to criticize the connection between Africans and Palestinians, how would you address that? As far as, one, it's the importance for us to have that solidarity not only with the Palestinians but with other non-African oppressed peoples throughout the world.
Well, if we understand the African internationalist question, and if we understand the placement of, you want to hold that?